So we are going to start year 11 biology, that is reproduction in human. We have already covered few topics. You were present in our last class, Sam, that I have already covered about human reproductive organs, like female reproductive organs, male reproductive organs. You were there? I think you were not there in our last class, isn't it? So in this class, because we have already covered about the female reproductive organ and the male reproductive organ. Fine. So in this class, we are going to understand about egg reproduction. Egg is released by the female reproductive organs. I have already explained about the fertilization. Fertilization is the process. Fertilization is the process of fusion of male reproductive cells and a female reproductive cells, right? So the male reproductive cell is sperm and the female reproductive cell is ovum. So when the fusion is happened, it forms a zygote. Okay. So what is the further process? I'm going to tell you. Okay. Egg reproduction. The next process is what? Egg reproduction. How egg is reproduced, as I have already understood about the female reproductive organs, like which part is involved in the female reproductive organs, which part is involved in the male reproductive organs, as well as like where it is located and what is and the female reproductive parts, what is released, right? Like which type of hormone released by the female reproductive organs, which type of hormones is released by the male reproductive organs. We have already covered in our last class. So in this class, we are going to talk about the egg reproduction because egg is reproduced through the female reproductive organs. Okay. Egg reproduction. You know what? Egg is what? Egg is reproduced through the female reproductive organs. So egg is what? It's a female reproductive cell. Egg begins, and where it forms, it forms inside the ovary or a female reproductive organ. So egg begins to form. Egg begins to form inside a girl. Inside a girl. When it, when a girl is to birth, so then only egg is started forming, right? You know what? Girl's ovary started formation of eggs. So egg begins to form inside a girl. Ovaries. What is the place of the, or where is the place where egg is formed? The place is what? The place is known as ovary. As I have already told you, as I've already explained the parts which is involved the female reproductive organs. So ovary is the one of the parts of reproductive organs. Ovaries. In the girl, ovary, before she's born. At the start of puberty, the egg will begin to mature. I said, egg starts forming or begins to form inside the girl's ovary when she born. And it start maturing during the or after the puberty. When a female or a girl reach to its puberty stage. And what is the I hope you have you already studied about the adolescent. It is a particular chapter in your book, the adolescent. So then you will come to, you have already studied, I hope that you have already studied about the puberty and the adolescent stage in the female and in the male. Fine. So during the puberty or at the stage of the puberty, the egg will start or begin to mature. Fine. Inside the ovary, inside the and where the egg started maturing, inside the ovary, obviously, mature inside the ovary. Ovaries. There are two ovaries present in the female reproductive organs. Each side, ovaries are present. Okay. Ovaries and inside the ovary, and one is released every month. See, as I have written here, that inside the ovary, egg is started maturing, and every month, one egg is released by the each ovary. It means there are two ovaries, so each ovary releasing one egg every month. Okay. Every month. Okay. When it mature, and when the egg mature, one second, please. And every month, one egg is released, one matured egg is released through the ovaries, right? When it matured or matured egg, when it matured, an egg, as I said, each egg contains, when it matures, the egg, and each egg contain a genetic material, as a sperm is also contain a genetic material. So each and every egg it contain a genetic material. That's how a young one is what? A young one is similar to their parents, because the genetic material is transferred from what? The genetic material is transferred from mother and from father to the children, or whatever the young one, to their cells, right? Each egg contains a genetic material. So egg cells burst out. When it matures, the egg cell bursts out of the ovary. You know what? And when it bursts out, when the egg does not meet to the sperm, so that egg is burst out and comes out from the reproductive part of the female. With some blood and a uterine muscles. The cells burst out and the end of burst out from the ovary. At the end of the oviduct. This is called, do you know what is this called? This is called ovulation. This is called ovulation. Hope you understood till here. This is known as ovulation. Next is what? This is egg production, how egg is produced. So, when a girl child took birth, so then only egg is already prepared inside their ovary, but it is not matured egg, but yet, and when the girl is reached to the puberty stage, so each egg started maturing, and each ovary produce one egg. Every month, each ovary produces one egg, right? And when it mature the egg, so you know what? Why it is when egg and the another male reproductive cells, when they fuse together, so they contain both female and a male reproductive cell, both contain a genetic material. That's how the DNA transferred, or a DNA which contain the genetic material. That's how a young one is somehow similar to their young ones, right? So if the egg cell bursts, when it matures, egg cell bursts out from the ovary at the end of the oviduct, and it reaches to the oviduct. The oviduct is the place where fertilization happens, where the sperm meets to the ovum, right? And this is called ovulation. Next is about the sperm production. How sperm is produced inside a male body or a male reproductive organs. Sperm reproduction. Sperm reproduction. Yes, sperm is a male reproductive cell. Reproductive cell. Okay. Its role is, what is its role? To fertilize egg. What is the function of the sperm? Its function, the main function of sperm is to fertilize the cell. Fertilize the cell, how? Fusion, with the fusion, to fuse together. So its role is to fertilize the egg. Fertilize the egg. Okay? Fertilize the egg. Fertilize an egg or the egg, doesn't matter. And fertilize. It contains the man's genetic material, as the egg also contains female's genetic material. Okay, contains genetic material. Okay, I hope you understood till here. Do you have any doubt? Okay. Also contain thousands of coiled tubes or tubules. It also contains, sperm also contain a thousand of coiled tube or a tubules. Okay. The sperm develop The sperm developed from cell. And how sperm is developed from the cell in the wall the sperm is made. The sperm is what? It's a male reproductive cells, and its role is to fertilize egg, right? It contains the man's genetic material, as I said, and it contains thousands of narrow coil tube or tubules. Okay, the sperm developed from cell and cell wall. Okay, cell wall of tubules. Which divided by the process of meiosis. And I hope you are well aware of the term of meiosis, because I have already explained the term meiosis. Meiosis is the process of cell division. Okay, so through the process of meiosis, this cell is divided. The cell wall of tubules, it is divided, right? Okay. Sperm are made. And how sperm started maturing, or it is forming during the stage when male is reached, or a boy is reached to its puberty stage. Okay, so sperm are made continuously from its puberty stage. From puberty onward. Okay, during the state of puberty, the male body started forming sperm cells, right? And it is started maturing also. Okay. The next is the sperm production. It's sensitive to heat. You know, the sperm production is sensitive to heat. Sensitive to heat. The sperm production is sensitive to heat. If they got hotter, they got hotter or got too hot, the cell in the tubule. The cell in the tubule will not develop. The cell in the tubule will not develop. You know what? As I said, sperm production is what? Sperm production is sensitive to heat, and if they got too hot, the cell in the tubule will not develop. That's why the testis is present outside the body. This testis is the part where sperm cell is produced, right? So this is the reason the testis is what? Is outside of the body, and it releases through the male reproductive part, all right? Because it is very sensitive to heat. And our body, inside the body is what? It is more hot. Fine. So that's why if they got hot, so tubule will not develop the cells. The cell will not develop inside the tubule. Okay. So, I hope you understood till here. So, in the tubule will not develop into the sperm. So into the sperm. Okay. So this is why testis is present where? Outside the body. Outside the body. This is the only reason. I hope you understood till here. Okay. So the next term is fertilization and development. Here I have already explained the sex cells, the female sex cells and the male sex cells. Yeah, right. How it is developed or how it is formed inside the female body and a male body. But the next term is what? The fertilization and development. Fertilization and development. How it happens, how it occurs inside the body. Inside the body of what? Inside the female body. Because fertilization happens inside the female body. Okay. Fertilization and development. Fertilization and development. The fertilization. What is the fertilization? I have already explained and I have already written several times that fertilization is what? Fertilization is the process of fusion. Fusion of what? Male and female gametes. Fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. After fusion of male and female gamete, it forms a zygote, right? So when male nucleus, male reproductive, or the cell of the male reproductive organs, the cell of the male reproductive cell fuses the nucleus of the male reproductive cells and the nucleus of the female reproductive cells fuse together. It forms a what? It forms a nuclei that is known as zygote. Okay. The fertilization is the process or the fusion of male reproductive cell, which is known as sperm, and female reproductive cell, which is known as ovum. The fusion of male and female reproductive cells is what? The fusion of male and female reproductive cells is known as fertilization. Is known as fertilization. It's known as fertilization. Okay. So how fertilization and development occurs? So after ovulation, as I said, I have already told you about the ovulation. So after ovulation, the egg is is caught in the funnel of the oviduct. Oviduct or a fallopian tube. Both are the same thing, right? So you cannot say oviduct or fallopian tube. There is another name of oviduct which is known as fallopian tube. Fallopian tube, which is connected to the ovary, both ovary. There are pair of oviduct. Okay, so funnel of after ovulation, the egg is caught in the funnel of the oviduct. The funnel is lined with cilia. Funnel is lined with cilia. It means there's a cilia present inside the wall of the oviduct. Okay, which beat the rhythmically wetting the egg. Rhythmically wetting the egg. Okay. Rhythmically wetting the egg into where it is wetting? Into there. Into the entrance of the oviduct. I hope you understood till here. If you can't speak, you can just write in the chat box, right? So please be active in the class time. So that the class should be active class. Right. Otherwise, it will be a passive class. And I'm only speaking and you are not responding. So how would I know that you are understanding or not? Right. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. Or if you are getting when I'm asking that whether you are understanding or not, okay, you should write in the chat box that yes, you're getting each and every point. Okay. So, what I said, the fusion of male reproductive cell, which is sperm, that process is known as fertilization. That fusion of male reproductive cell and a female reproductive cell known as fertilization. And after ovulation, I have already told you about the ovulation. In ovulation, the egg is caught in the funnel of the oviduct. It means egg travels from the ovary. It travels to the oviduct or a fallopian tube, and the funnel is lined with the tube is lined with cilia, which beat it is just moving. It's moving like it's kind of a rhythmic wave. So rhythmic waving the egg into the entrance of the oviduct. Okay. Very slowly, right. So very slowly, egg is released from where? Egg is released from the ovary and it is traveled through the oviduct. So very slowly, egg travel towards the uterus. Egg travel towards the uterus. Okay. By the process of peristalsis. Do you know the process of peristalsis? Peristalsis happens when you eat food, whatever the food we are eating, it goes from the mouth to the esophagus. Through the esophagus, it reaches to the stomach. Okay, so inside the esophagus, our food is pushed down where? Towards the stomach. So it is what? It's kind of a movement, contraction, and it's what it is, just moving the food inside the stomach. Like these kind of, it is just food, it's just the movement. Movement is happen every time whenever you eat food, and this process is happening like 2 to 3 hours continuously, but we don't feel the movement, right? because the movement is very slow and we cannot feel that movement. So that pushing down of the food through the esophagus is what? It is known as peristalsis. So that's how the egg is also pushing down to the where? To the uterus, through which? Through the fallopian tube. So that is also known as uterus by peristalsis. Okay, by the process of peristalsis. By peristalsis. Okay, I hope you understood till here. So here, egg is reached to the uterus. So what happens if egg is not fertilized, or egg is not meet to the what? If ovum is not meet to the sperm. Okay. So if the egg is not fertilized, if egg is not fertilized by a sperm, within 8 to 24 hours. 8 to 24 hours after what? After ovulation. After ovulation. After ovulation, so what will happen? It will burst. The egg will burst with some uterine muscle and blood through the vagina. Okay? That is known as, that is what? That is known as menstruation. Okay? If the egg is not fertilized by sperm within 8 to 24 hours after ovulation, what happened? Burst out. It burst out. The egg will burst out. Burst and release with blood and some uterine muscles. Some uterine muscles. This is known as menstruation. Known as menstruation. Okay? So, as I said that, you know what? Egg is released from the female body. If it is not fertilized, or it will not fuse together, not fused with the sperm, so what will happen with the egg? So if egg will not meet during the period of 8 to 24 hours, within the period of 8 to 24 hours, so what will happen with the egg? That egg will burst, right? So burst will what? Burst, and it comes out from the body of female with blood and some uterine muscles, with a what? With the female reproductive part or vagina. So that is known as what? That is known as menstruation, and it happens every month, right? It happens every month with female body. All right. So for the fertilization, for the fertilization, egg need to meet egg with a sperm or a sperm cell, right? So sperm must meet to the egg cell, or sperm or an egg must meet to the nucleus of the egg must meet to the sperm cell or a nucleus of the sperm. So sperm must reach an egg reach an egg. Okay. It is quite near the top of the oviduct. The fertilization is to be successful. I hope you understood till here. To get fertilized, an egg, it needed to meet with a sperm cell. Okay? Where it is needed to meet? Top of the oviduct, right? Not in the uterus. Where it's needed to meet? Where? In the oviduct or a fallopian tube. Because inside the fallopian tube or oviduct, fertilization happens there only. After fertilization or after after converting in the form of zygote, then it travels to the uterus and their fetus is developed, right? A new one or a young one is started developing inside the uterus. Okay. The sperm, what is the next procedure of fertilization? The sperm enters the female body. What is the process? What is the process of entering a sperm inside the female body? Let us understand. The sperm enters the female body through the female reproductive organ. Female reproductive organ. This happens, when it happens? This happens when the wall happens of the tube. This is the wall of the tube containing the sperm. Containing the sperm. Okay. And which contract rhythmically. Rhythmically, it means it is just traveling, like it is just contracting. As I said, peristalsis, the process of peristalsis, it is moving, like it is just floating rhythmically. Okay. Sperm contract rhythmically. Okay. The sperm is released sperm is out of the man's reproductive organ. The sperm is released from where? From the man's reproductive organ. Sperm is released out of the man's reproductive organ. Reproductive organ. Which organ? Urethra. And goes into the women's reproductive organ. This is called, what I said, it's called ejaculation. This process is called ejaculation. Ejaculation is what? The releasing of a sperm from the male reproductive organ. And which organ? Urethra. And injected or goes inside the female reproductive organ. This process, this is known as ejaculation. This is called ejaculation. Ejaculation. I hope you understood earlier. Ejaculation is another term you should remember. And ejaculation is what? It's a process of what? It's a process of injecting injecting male reproductive cells. That is sperm, where inside the female reproductive organ. And where sperm is releases from which organ? Through the urethra. Through the urethra from the reproductive part of the male body. Okay? I hope you understood till here. And the sperm, the fluid, all right. I've understood, that's good. So the fluid containing, sperm is what? Sperm also contain some liquid, some viscous liquid, right? Which is known as semen. Sperm is what? It is what? It's a cell, reproductive cell. But as if you have books, so you can go through your book and just look at the picture of the sperm, that in the sperm, there is a head, there is a tail, there's a middle part and nucleus inside the sperm, which contain a chromosome, which carry what? Which carry male genetic material. So sperm floats inside the male body, and it's float from the male body to the female reproductive organ. So how it floats? Because the sperm, you know what? Because sperm is floating in the fluid, which fluid is known as what? It is known as semen. Yes, it's known as semen. So the fluid, and that fluid contains the sperm, or inside the fluid, sperm is floating. So the fluid containing the sperm is known as semen. Okay? And the sperm floats. Sperm floats or swim. You can write swim. Using their tail. Using their tail, because sperm has several parts, right? It has which type of structure it has? This is the structure of a sperm. Inside this is what? This part is known as head. This part is head. When it fuses with the ovum, so only head goes inside the ovum or meet with or fuse with egg. These part, it just left behind. Okay, the tail part, sperm is just left behind and enters only head part inside the ovum or an egg. Okay, so this is what? This is tail. This is what? This is tail. This part is known as tail, right? Or flagellum. You can also call it flagellum. Tail or flagellum. Okay, which what? Which helps in And what does it help? It helps in swimming inside the fluid or inside the semen. Okay. So this is head. And this is what? This is this part, colored part or a black color part. This is known as nucleus. This is nucleus, which carry genetic materials, which carry genetic material. Genetic material of what? Male's genetic material. Okay. Containing, and what is the specific name which carries genetic material? That is known as chromosome. That is known as chromosome. Or you can say that it carry or contain chromosomes. It contains chromosomes. Okay. There are several pairs of chromosomes present in the female and the male sexes, right? 23 pair of chromosome present inside the 23 pair of chromosome present inside the human body. Okay. This is head, tail, this is nucleus, and this one is, this is what? This is middle part. Middle piece, and it contains mitochondria. It contains mitochondria, which releases energy. Mitochondria releases energy. Mitochondria is also present inside the human cells, right? I hope you understood till here. And this is what? This part is known as ectosome. This part is known as ectosome. This is known as ectosome. This is vesicle, which contain enzyme to dissolve way through the jelly. It means it helps to dissolve inside the egg. Okay. I hope you understood till here. Give me a few seconds. I just want to drink water. Okay. Okay. I hope you understood till here. Next is what? As I said, sperm swim using their tail. Okay. Where? Through the cervix. Through the cervix. Through the cervix, and through the cervix, where to swim? The cervix, through uterus. Through uterus, it floats from the male body to the female body, through the vagina, to the cervix, to the uterus. Okay. And into the ovida. Through the vagina, to the cervix, to the uterus, and to the, ultimately it reached to the oviduct. The oviduct. Okay. Into the oviduct, where fertilization happens. One ejaculation deposits million of sperm, one ejaculation deposit million of sperm inside the female body. Deposit million of sperm inside the female reproductive organ. Through vagina. Okay. So there's a good chance. There's a good chance that some sperm or one sperm can reach to the egg. Okay. So there's a good chance that one sperm reach to the egg, and when it reached to the egg or ovum, it just left behind the tail, and only head part will inserted inside the inside the egg, and another the left out sperm will die. Okay, and after fusing with after fusing with one sperm, the egg cells closed itself, and there will be no chance, there's no another chance to get or to reach another sperm cells inside the egg. I hope you understood till here. Okay. One sperm enters the egg. Only the, as I said, only the head part. Head part of the sperm. Only the head part goes in the goes in, right? Tail part, as I said, left outside. Tail part, left outside. Tail part, left outside. And the nucleus. The sperm uses with the nucleus of egg. Nucleus of the egg. And fertilization happens or occurs. Fertilization occurs. Okay. And and fertilization occurs. Okay. And where it is happening? In which part this is happening? Inside the oviduct or inside the fallopian tube. So if there will be any blockage in the women's body, there are so many women, they don't reproduce a child because if there will be any kind of blockage inside the oviduct, so it is not possible to fuse the egg with sperm. That's how they cannot reproduce their young ones. So that's why doctor need to check the fallopian tube also, right? And here the unsuccessful sperm will die. The unsuccessful. What I said, the million of sperm released by the male body, the male reproductive cell, but not all the cell reach to the eggs. Egg, right? Eggs, not eggs. And only one sperm will reach, only one sperm successful to reach or to fuse with the egg, and the unsuccessful sperm will die. The unsuccessful sperm will die. Okay? Will all die. Okay? I hope you understood till here. So, this is what? This is the fertilization and development process. This was what? Fertilization and development process. Here, fertilization happens, and now after fusion of male and female reproductive cells inside the fallopian, now it come to the uterus, and inside the uterus there is started a growing fetus. That cell, that particular cell, that female cell and the male cell, they fuse together and it develop. It convert into, that is known as the zygote. The fertilization. It means you can call it the female sex cells or a male sex cells. You can also call it a male gamete and a female gamete. When it is fuses together through this process, it forms a zygote, and the zygote travels to the where? Uterus, and inside the uterus, fetus started developing, or a new one started developing. Okay, and it took several months to convert from a fetus to a baby. Okay. Next is implantation. Implantation is the stage of first level of pregnancy. Right? You can normally or generally you can implantation, this term, or you can generally, you will know the term which is the first level of pregnancy. The term implantation, as I have already explained about the fertilization and development. So after fertilization, implantation happens. The implantation is the stage of fusion of egg. Fusion of egg and sperm nucleus. Sperm nucleus. And after fusion, it forms fusion of egg and sperm nucleus. They form zygote. They form zygote. Okay. The zygote continuous moving. Continuous moving. The zygote continues to move. Where? It moves from UV duct to the nucleus. Continues to move slowly from UV duct to the oviduct, continue, move, oviduct, and divides by mitosis. Do you know the process of mitosis? What is mitosis? Do you know what is mitosis? Do you know the process of mitosis? Right? Tell me about the mitosis. Please tell me what is mitosis. Is it two terms? Yes, cell duplicate by splitting, or cell divides in its daughter cell, right? So this is known as mitosis, and there's another process which is known as meiosis. As I have already explained, meiosis is also a process of cell division. So in the mitosis, cell is divided in such a way as it split into its daughter cells. Okay, two daughter cells, which is identical to each other, which are identical cells, two identical cells, which is known as daughter cells. Okay. And so, what I was writing? Slowly from oviduct and divides by mitosis and formed a ball and formed a ball of cells. Ball of cells called implantation. Sorry, called an embryo. Called an embryo. I hope you understood till here that implantation is what? Implantation is the stage of fusion. Fusion what? Or implantation is the first stage of pregnancy in which the cells, both cells, the male cells and the female cells fuse together, forms a single nucleus, and which is known as zygote. And the zygote continue to move slowly from the oviduct, and it divided from oviduct, started divided by the process of mitosis, and it divided into two identical cells, which is known as the daughter cell. So, and it is called what? It is called embryo, right? Embryo, and then embryo convert into fetus. Okay. It takes several hours. Sorry for the inconvenience. It takes several hours for the embryo to reach the where? To reach the uterus. Embryo where? Embryo reach the uterus. Embryo reach to the uterus. There, further, the development of the embryo started. Okay, development of embryo started where? In the fetus or in the young ones. Okay? So it takes several hours for the embryo to reach the uterus. To reach the uterus, and the uterus has thin spongy lining. Thin spongy lining. And this embryo sinks into it. Is called, and this whole process is called implantation into it. This is called implantation. I hope you understood till here, right? So what is implantation? As I've already explained, right? So here, cells divided and cells fused and turn into embryo, zygote, and then zygote divided into embryo. Embryo then reach. It takes several hours to reach to the Uterus. And uterus what? Uterus, which type of structure of the uterus? Uterus has thin, spongy lining, and where embryo sinks in it, right, and stays in it and started developing day by day, right? This is called implantation. That's why I said that implantation is the first stage of pregnancy, right? So, and after that, that embryo started developing into fetus, and after some time, after a few weeks, it developed into the young ones or a young child. Okay, I hope you understood till here. Is there any doubt? Because in our next class, all right, you can also refer your book. Just go through the diagram which is already mentioned or which is already given in your book. Right. In our next class, we will understood about the placenta and amnion. Right. So in the next class, we will study further that how fertilization occurs, how a baby is well grown inside the womb of a female body. Right. Right. It means how embryo develops into the fetus. Okay. There are many topics which is related to the development of a baby. As you will understand in our next class. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope you understood well. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Let's end the class for today. Okay. Bye-bye.